Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, we actually have some pretty fun and pretty interesting things to go and talk about over here, where it does kind of seem like, I don't want to say it's officially done as of yet, but very, very soon, hopefully sooner than we all hope, it does almost seem like it's getting close to the end of the PlayStation 5 scalping. So I'm going to go and talk over some very intriguing information in terms of like the third-party seller sites, in terms of the overall kind of like stock and flow of all the third-party sellers, and it's at the end of the day, it's actually looking pretty good. Now, I do want to say this is like, it's getting there. Like every single day, we get a little bit more and more stock out there, and I still go and stand by the fact that Sony doing those bundles was a very smart idea. But when it does come with all the stock all floating around, it does go to show that scalping does seem like it's dying down. We're seeing less botters, obviously, as well, with also a bigger influx of in-stores, and everything we've had to go and see. I'm pretty hyped up about this. So let's go and talk about this. Let's go talk about in all honesty, almost the freedom of the PlayStation 5. And like I said, it's not fully done yet, but one of these days in the near future, can't wait to make a YouTube video celebrating that in the first place. So make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on, as well for the brand new $500 either PS5, Xbox, or just $500 cash giveaway. The Twitter and Twitch down below if you guys want those bonus entries. We also do have the Weeble down below. We have the Target and Amazon signups too. Definitely do the Amazon ones. We do keep on seeing people getting the hookup and signups and getting like instant invitations. And let's dive into the video. So as you guys have probably known, scalpers have been kind of a big issue. Both botters and scalpers are kind of hand in hand. Botters are just more the intensive scalpers at the end of the day. Now we are still seeing other issues throughout the entire world, which we may go and cover up again because other regions still don't have as much stock as us in America. We're still seeing other weird things such as like consoles being shipped to other countries, but at least for all the American-based consoles and everything when it comes to scalping, it does seem like it's finally dying down. So I'm going to show you guys probably one of the more popular websites out here because these are always like so intriguing to look at the actual graphs themselves. And let's go talk about it. So we're going to first of all showcase up more on the StockX side. Now if you guys don't know, StockX is one of just the bigger like third-party seller type websites, think like eBay, think like Facebook, etc. But this was probably, I think, the best and most predominant one because they typically have, I guess, a little bit of notoriety when it comes to like they send in the actual stock. People have to vet it. They have to double check it, make sure it's actually good. And as they go from all of that, they have a good chance to, well, obviously get consoles and get the hookup and get the stock. So I like this a lot. I like the vibe of this a lot. I love the experience of this a lot. I think it's just an overall good time. So as you guys can see, we're seeing some of the most recent sales only at $589. Now, obviously, there's a little bit of taxes involved too, but that just kind of goes to show it's not fully done yet. I still think people on Facebook and other locations, for God knows why, are still paying over the normal asking price. And I'm not 100% sure exactly why or why not, but mainly because you have other options, or we've been seeing stuff like we've mentioned, like Target in stores or a lot of the Amazon things and all of that. But for some odd reason, people maybe just are still assuming consoles are hard to find still, which in all honesty, besides the past like 2 months, is still been kind of a big narrative, I would say. And I'm sure if you could just go casually look at, say, like Target online for a second and you just don't see stock, you might be like, whatever, I want to play God of War. Or same thing too as well, if like you just casually check in Amazon and you don't see an invite as soon as you apply for it, you might just be like, whatever, I don't want to deal with this. I don't do the research. My time is worth more. Or I have a good paying job, or it's just for my kids. I don't care. And just end up buying from a scalper. So there is still going to be some relevance here, and I still think the restocks are kind of prevalent. And I do kind of think we'll probably be tracking at least until the end of the year, I guess, just to help folks out. But when it does come with stock as well, it does kind of seem like scalpers are kind of winding down. So we kind of covered this maybe a few weeks ago, maybe around like this range or so, if you guys remember. And I keep on saying whenever it fully breaks under around the $600 mark, that was when the Xbox pretty much became a normal console again. That's when it kind of started becoming very readily available for multiple hours. So let's say like there's an Xbox drop, and it was up for like 24 hours, and the stock was there, it was prevalent, it was around. That was a very, very good sign. And this is almost like it's almost mimicking it somewhat exactly, although on a pretty slower time frame too, where basically whenever it was under the $600, as I mentioned, basically the profitability there just really didn't really seem to be there. So at this, it seems like we're almost on that like big leap where it's almost not worth it for all these scalpers to keep buying. Sadly, it still is as of now, especially if someone can snag, like, let's say 5 at a Target store and still make an extra $50, $100. I mean, if they're still selling for $650 on like Facebook Marketplace or eBay, you can still churn $500 off a drop. I mean, some people are going to do that nonetheless if they're just not taking that much time and effort. But I think that once again just kind of goes to show that just a lot of normal folks just don't really necessarily know how the stock works and how like everything kind of flows. They just don't necessarily realize that, well, like you could easily go get your consoles, or at least it's not the normalized yet. I think that's the best way for me to explain it. But as you guys can kind of see, we have had a pretty easy free fall. Like as of last year, we had this huge like $800 dip, which we still thought was insane. But as everything keeps on going down and down and down, you guys can realize it was hovering around the 600 pretty strongly for a while. But ever since we've had this God of War drop, it's just because there's been, and we kind of predicted this too, because obviously marketing, but we just saw so many of these consoles doing well in terms of stock. It's kind of like if you have all 8 big retailers, PlayStation Direct, Walmart, Target, Best Buy, GameStop, but then as well, you know, some other big ones too, like the Anton lines, like Costco, Sam's Club, and maybe Verizon. You have them all drop at the same time, and a lot of them also having a mixture of both in stores, but as well also online. So pretty much you can go and get the consoles either or. That's just like we've been complaining about that for probably like 2 years. Now, granted, it might just be hard to actually maintain that stock and get that stock, which I can kind of totally get, obviously. But when it does come with everything, man, it's almost like there's a freedom involved when we get to have a chance to see all the stock. Like it's almost just like the most phenomenal and best feeling to see this, because that just means people are able to get their consoles. That means that scalpers are not making as much money. That means that botters are probably turning off a lot of their bots, maybe possibly for pure consoles too, but it just goes to show that like we can finally become next gen and we can finally move on from all of this craziness going on. And I love that. I love having the chance to see and appreciate the fact of all these consoles coming out and see and appreciate the fact that we're getting good normal movement. And I love to see the fact that we finally get to go and just walk into a store in the near future regardless. I love seeing this so much. So as you guys can kind of see, as I mentioned, like the sales are actually still doing pretty okay. They're going down. But the one biggest thing is kind of funny is that the digital is still holding up insane price points. Now, I'm sure this is going to probably go and equate down a little bit more, but I don't understand, like, I mean, I guess maybe people just, it's like the same thing in their heads, but like this price is barely that much different than even the PS5 Disc Edition, which is funny because the normal price is $100 difference. So you'd assume like, okay, it pretty much would almost be the same as the disc minus $100. Maybe look at maybe 80 if you just, whatever, it's fine. But it kind of just goes to show that this is somehow still selling at $565, or maybe the PS5 Digital is going to be scalped for quite a bit longer, especially if like it's only like a $30 premium when it's supposed to be a $100 difference, which to me still is insane. Like, I don't really understand how this is still going on. So maybe if anything, this might be scalped even a little bit longer, maybe even after the holiday season, you know, just for the cheaper prices and making sure everyone can appreciate it or whatever. But as you guys can see, $535, $580 before was very expensive. So at the end of the day, it does kind of seem like all these flows are doing very well. Now, as we have looked on places like on eBay, some of the other like less pure in-demand spots or like the more traditional reseller heavy locations are slightly still more expensive. You guys can kind of see like this place somehow made 1,200 sales, 3,000 sales. Whew, that's a lot of money. But basically, you guys, for some odd reason, like, I mean, we're starting to see a few of these like used consoles though, which is nice. I think the used market's always nice to see. Maybe they just end up being God of War. But you guys also see like some of these is like even the bundles, like compared to say these normal consoles, these bundles are even still getting more like equalized in the price wise. So this is just kind of a really good sign to see. Like even this, I mean, it still has bids obviously, but we're just seeing all this stock together and it's just a really good time. I really think this is like kind of the start of like the almost fresh era. Now, not fully yet. Maybe after the holidays too, we still got a few more weeks of like, you know, crazy shit, Christmas shopping. We have to worry about like, you know, everything. Like we're gonna have Christmas, we're gonna be having holidays, we're gonna be having sales, Black Friday. Like there's gonna probably be still a lot of influx with it. But after all this time, after like 2 years, at some point, we gotta go and make sure it turns out okay. But as you guys can see, it does, like, I feel like the people that are really in the know are slowly getting there. Like, they're slowly but surely getting there, or even some trying to sell broken PS5 for God knows why. But you guys can go and see that, like, the consoles are getting there. The prices are somewhat equalizing out. And so I keep on saying it's going to take a few more months for, like, the normal general sentiment to kind of get used to everything, because once that's all done, then it just makes a lot more sense. Like, people can kind of relax and be like, okay, cool, like, we're working on this, we're doing that, we're doing this, whatever. And they're kind of just, like, if you know, you can just walk into a Walmart like you're not gonna be paying $700 for a scalper, if that makes sense. And then funny enough, I looked on Facebook Marketplace and I just, because I had enough information before, but I just saw this random disappointed Gordon Ramsay and just want to show you guys that at the tail end of the video. So give me your thoughts and comments down below on all the scalpers and botting situation. I think it's turned out pretty good. So make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on as well for the brand new PlayStation 5 giveaway. Amazon links down below for all the PS5 signups. We have the Twitter and Twitch stream down below in case you guys do want bonus entries. And of course, as well, I appreciate you guys so much for watching in the first place.